Hey guys, welcome to the Ecom Toolbox podcast with Perry and Kim.
Kim and Perry.
Where we open the hood of our own business to show you how we run things and talk to Amazon sellers like you about how to run your side hustle like a real business. Welcome back, everybody. Today we're shooting another episode which we let you see behind the curtains a little bit and meet a member of our team. We're opening the door, going to introduce you to another key team member who's not only helps us in our arbitrage business, but is very active in the school group, Ecom Toolbox school group. We want you to hear directly from them so you can see what it was like coming into a growing company, what stood out to Miguel early on, and the challenges and opportunities that he sees ahead. As a reminder, our goal here is to have transparent conversations rooted in the real growth in the belief that real growth happens when people share openly, learn together, and build something sustainable together. So whether you're a reseller or building a team of your own, or you're just simply curious about what happens behind the scenes in our business, we really hope you find a lot of value in today's episode. Hey, today we have Miguel Navarro with us. He's one of our longest running team members. He's been with us a number of years. So welcome, Miguel. And why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself, your history on Amazon, and how you came to be with Ecom Toolbox?
Sure, and thanks for having me. Yeah, my Amazon journey has been quite a roller coaster. I've probably been in 7 or 8 years now. And you guys ask me like, when did I start or anything? I said, I don't know. I remember the last 2 years on Amazon. That's what I remember. But maybe around 2017, 2018, I got introduced to this weird kind of you can buy things and sell them and make money. I worked in the oil fields for about 13 years. I was coming out of that career, struggling with some injuries, and my body was taking a toll on my body. So at the time, through different circumstances, I was kind of looking for something different. And when the opportunity presented, I looked at everything. I used to watch a thing called The Green Room that a lot of people maybe were familiar with from back in the day. And I would just watch all these different, getting into YouTube and watching different things. And it just came up one day, The Selling Family. And I think it was LaRue. I'm sure you guys,
Yeah.
that's
That was one of our
familiar.
early ones too.
So, and I said, wow, like you can scan this and you can make, you bring it to the platform and you can make some money. And I was into really like not flipping things, but I would do like Facebook Marketplace and some different types of selling. Slick Deals was me and my brother who lives in California. That was our like thing where we would connect with each other because he lived up there, I lived down here, and we were sharing deals, messing around with BrickSeek, trying to make us a little side hustle thing kind of go. And yeah, from that point, that's it. Took about a year or so. Really frustrated just with my boss and the company. And, I took the plunge and run it by the wife. And she was like, do what you want to do, but, it better work. And so, yeah, that's how I started.
That's cool. So, I was thinking about like how we first connected. I think it was through the group RA Secrets. Is that where we first ran into each other?
Yeah. Yeah,
And
for
then
sure.
you actually started driving up to San Antonio for meetups that Kim and I were having like pre-2020, right?
Yeah. So what happened with me was my first go at Amazon did not work. Like I had a large little nest egg of money when I moved out of my former career, and I just jumped into Amazon. I flew to New York and I took a course to teach me how to sell. And basically, they were able to get me an account, right? Get you going and get you to the point of purchasing and getting products in. But after that, I had never run my own business, right? So I kind of crashed and burned that first. I just flew through that money within a year and a half or so. And I was wondering why can't like I'm getting payouts, but I don't have no money to go buy no more inventory. And I was trying to figure out. And so one of the things I did was I did find that RA Secrets group, and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna get involved in here because it looks like they have a little bit more knowledge on that I needed at the time. And once I got into that group, I think you two were just starting to really kind of get involved in that because I saw Perry go and purchase like 500 pairs of Nikes from Nike back in the day when it really made money,
Back,
Right.
and
back in the golden days.
yeah, in the golden days. And he was going to all these stores, and I said, okay, so 500 pairs. I got to get to 500 pairs. That's what I need to beat right there. If I can get to there, that's what's gonna make it work. But I was really just interested in growing and learning at the time. And when you started doing those meetups at Max and Louie's, I just looked around and I didn't have no other sellers next to me that I knew. I was still fairly new a couple years in, but I really wasn't making a lot of money. And I really wanted to push it, and I knew I had to step out to really make a difference. I couldn't just keep doing the same thing. And I looked at where the other admins were, and I'm like, well, I can't go to Philadelphia, And I saw, man, Perry and Kim are right here in San Antonio. That's not too far away. And so yeah, like I was actually working a second job to kind of keep things moving at the house. I was working at an auction house at the time, and I said, man, I'm going up there the next time they have that. And then you had those meetups, and I would drive up there. And the weird thing was I was getting more value from sitting with you guys, other sellers that showed up there and having conversations in 1 hour or 2 hours that we were there than I was getting just in general, like going blind into the Amazon space. And I knew it was so powerful for me. I just kept showing up month after month after month.
Was that your
Yeah,
first
and
taste of networking, Amazon networking?
Yeah, that was my first taste of really meeting a large group of sellers in one place, other than the RA Secrets group. Because I was looking at people in that group like, man, these guys are like at such a high level. And then when I got to get around you guys, everybody's just regular people trying to make things work.
yeah. Yeah, and just to paint the picture for the audience, like you weren't just showing up for dinner. You were driving like 2.5, 3 hours one way, having a 2 to 3 hour dinner talking Amazon, and then driving 2.5 and 3 hours back home that night and had to get up and
Yeah.
grind the next day. I was
Yep.
impressed by that for sure.
That was a full day at the end of your
Yeah.
work day.
Well, the thing with that was I was so high off of all the knowledge that I was getting because it was you guys, but there was other sellers there too. So I got
Oh
to
yeah.
just sit down with other people that were doing different types of businesses. And so when I would drive back, I was already on a high of I just learned all kinds of stuff that I can implement going forward. And it just helped, it kept me going and motivated and pushing to that next level. And I knew that I didn't have anybody that was at quite selling at the numbers you guys were, and you guys were still kind of having processes in place that you were talking about, and these were conversations I wasn't having. So I needed that, and it didn't matter if I knew it was going to take in any business. I believe it's going to take a certain amount of sacrifice, to really push it if you really want to. I mean, if you want to just do a little bit here, make some side money, that's fine. But I really felt for me, it's really, I got to take it seriously. And I felt that that was the opportunity at the moment to really push myself.
Yeah, and that really speaks to the power of networking because would you say your business, it sounds like you're saying your business directly benefited from that, but it got stronger and you started to grow as you got those different perspectives and built those relationships. Is that fair?
Yeah, definitely. It really you kind of size up the competition as well, and you say this is what it takes if you want to really um get to that next level. Like it's not just numbers all the time, right? It's how people communicate, it's how you share information. It's your determination, and you hear other people's wins and losses. And that's one of the things that I liked about just being around you guys, because you guys kind of like have a sphere. There were other sellers that really kind of were drawn to you as well. So just I knew that being around the space, you guys kind of were like the biggest, nucleus I could be around with other things going on around it. And I wanted to take advantage of the opportunity while it was there. I didn't know how long it was going to last. You guys didn't have to do those meetups, but for me, I said, while they're doing them, I want to be in the area or in and around the conversations that really can push myself forward.
Yeah. Do you feel like that was a level above what you can get on like a Discord server or a Facebook group?
Oh yeah. Yeah. When you're in the room with people that are really in the trenches, it's a whole different conversation. There's discords and they have a lot of information, but sometimes you need to be around somebody who's going to tell you, hey, like you're going to go broke if you keep doing this, or why are you doing that when you're spending all your time in this area when this is the real problem? Like business will expose you for your issues that you have, right? Or the things that you refuse to grow in. You're getting
Right.
exposed. So I might not be at your level, but I see you having a conversation with another seller, or I'm talking to another guy who's saying, "Man, I'm 2 years in, I'm still not making no money. Well, what are you doing wrong?" You know, and he might tell me, "Well, I did this wrong, this wrong, this wrong." I'm like, "Okay, I need to stay away from those pitfalls." So networking and
Right.
community with the right people for me has been tremendous growth areas.
Yeah, I
Have you
agree.
seen your goals for your business change over the years? As your business grows, do your goals shift,
Yeah,
or have you had the
it's
same?
no, it's well, see, originally all I wanted to do was pay my basic my basic income finances that I needed a month, whether it be $4,000 to $6,000. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted Amazon to do that. I didn't want to grow, you know, but I had a vision of, you know, at least having some type of opportunity that I could give my family. I wanted to be able to, um, you know, my brothers, my sisters, like all the kids that were coming up, they were going to have to go and work for, you know, maybe a smaller business or a company or McDonald's. They had all had to start somewhere, you know. So I wanted to at least help my family in that way. Where, hey, why don't you just come work with me, and then we can, you know, we can grow from that point. I wanted to give them a platform or a stepping stone for that.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. So let's transition a little bit. Like, how did you go from just networking to being part of CFE, now Ecom Toolbox? Like, what was the beginning of that? As I recall, you were kind of stalking me.
Well, I don't think I was stalking you. I think you had a need and I just wanted to be in the vicinity to fulfill that need if you had it. So I went to a couple of the things and you had mentioned, you know, hiring another shopper. I knew I
Yeah.
didn't have the amount of finances to purchase everything I was finding. I felt like I was a pretty good shopper. I wasn't great, but I felt like I was pretty good because I kept finding stuff and I wanted to buy it, but I couldn't, right? I would buy like the best of the best, but even at that point, I was leaving piles of stuff in the stores. And I had so many stores at the time. And so I just felt like it was I think you had asked me, hey, how do you feel about, you know, shopping for us? And I was, you know, I had to play it cool a little bit. Yeah, you know, let's talk about it. It took a while for us to really
Right.
have that conversation. Um, but yeah, as soon as you guys asked me to, I was actually excited to just it kind
I
of came
think you
to
and I think you and Perry had that conversation behind my back because I remember
yeah,
Perry coming to me saying, "Hey, Miguel wants to shop for us," and I was
yeah,
like, "Miguel, we barely know it."
yeah,
So no, no, we've been talking.
yeah. I and like I
You were the
said,
first, I think you were the closest thing to an outside hire we had at the time. It was new territory for me.
yeah. Well, I knew Perry really wanted to go into other markets because he would kind of talk about it. And so I knew he had a pretty big team in San Antonio. So I knew there was some leverage there, you know, that, you know, if I just kept bringing it up, maybe he'll jump at it, you know?
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, we had interacted over a year or two in that Facebook group, and then it's probably a good 6 months of sitting once a month at dinner talking, not exclusively, but these were generally 2 to 3 hour dinners,
Yeah.
and we'd have a lot of long conversations. And yeah, I was probably, I could sense your interest, you could sense my interest. We were dancing around it for a while.
Hmm.
But I mean, I just want to put another like emphasis on that. Like, this is the power of networking, right?
Yeah.
We both got
You
out
build
of
a
our
lot of
comfort
trust
zone.
in person.
Yeah. And it developed into this wonderful relationship that we have now, like 8 years later,
Yeah.
because we took time out of our schedules to go and sit in the same place as other Amazon sellers and build that relationship. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you first came on the team, like, what jumped out at you about like how our processes and how we ran our business?
I mean, it was definitely a step above what I was doing. You guys did have a basic, like your very first basic rank and variations, kind of shopping criteria kind of thing. You did have that, and you had already kind of shared that, and I had already kind of looked that over in the RA Secrets group and been paying attention to it. So,
Yeah, well, at the time, that was kind of our chart was unique because that was back in the days where everybody waited for somebody to post like a rank chart where,
mhm,
okay, here's clothing, here's the top 10%, here's the top 5%, here's the rank in the top 1%. And every 6 months or a year, different influencers would publish these rank charts. Once they were published, they get passed around and people kind of lived by that. But Kim and I noticed that just because it was good rank in shoes and clothing, it didn't necessarily always mean it was going to be a hit. So rank was a good starting point, but it wasn't the full picture. So then we started developing that little chart, which was like, if it's in shoes and clothing under 25,000, you can have this many competitors and try to figure out how many variations were kind of a safe for sell through. And we did that all the way up to 1 million. And it was just a chart like here's the rank bands within this one category.
mhm.
Um, Chris mentioned when we were on his podcast a couple weeks ago that he actually keeps the his last copy of that when he's doing OA on his desk when he's
Yeah.
doing shoes and clothes. So I
I
think
think we
it's
were the first and only ones to try to harmonize the rank and the number of variations. Nobody else had an idea how to fit those together.
yeah, and that came
And
out of us arguing about it a lot, right?
and,
Because you're
and
like,
my
no, it's not low enough. And I'm like, but
yeah.
look, there's no
We
competitors on it.
still
And
we still have an ongoing debate about the number of in-stock variations versus the total number of variations and how that affects it.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that's a debate that's gonna last forever for sure. But yeah, but even when I got that list, I was like, this ain't nothing. Like I knew I had a Nike clearance store that sat right next to me. And I knew Perry wanted to get in that store because he told me, hey, you got a Nike clearance store. I already looked in your area. If you can just hit, and I knew that I would go in there and I would leave so much stuff behind. Now, this was when Nike would sell like really good. So it's a little different now, but I just knew when you sent me that rank sheet, and you guys did vet me you made me do a buy list and send it to you. So it wasn't like, and I was in the RS Secrets group for a year or so into that already. So
right.
you did do your own kind of vetting as far as the shopper is concerned. But like I look at that, like I think about those things and watch you guys like as you began to hire more and more. Like when I first came on, there was no metrics, there was none of that kind of stuff, but I knew I had a plethora of stuff. And so over the years, things just got honed in better and better and better.
Yeah. What was I going to ask you? Having so much fun, I forgot the next question I was going to ask you. Um, so how was it? How were we different looking back even over the other Amazon businesses that you've seen or other companies you've worked for? Like, are there differences in how we operate that you've noticed?
Um, well, you guys definitely, or remember, I only knew what I knew about the industry for a year or two, so I didn't really have a great understanding of how everybody operated. Like you said, 7, 8 years ago, nobody was talking about like metrics or talking even the basic framework of it, right? Nobody was talking about those things. Everybody was talking about you can just go and buy and you can sell and you can make money. There wasn't a lot of coaching around. I mean, even when you guys hired me, like your systems weren't where they're at now. We're talking, you've been working on these for 7, 8 years. That's all I remember is that one chunk of boundaries you gave me, right?
Right.
So even when I came, and since I'm so far away from you guys, I wasn't on a call. Only call I was on every week was maybe the RA Secrets call, and then we would kind of chat back and forth because you did need me to kind of ship the stuff in. You wanted to make sure shipments were going out, right? That things were getting processed. So all those things were kind of built over my lifespan of working with you guys. So I've
Right.
kind of seen it where they were there, like you guys had a prep line. I didn't know anybody else who had a prep line. So it just every step of the way I was able to just watch and see what you were doing different than maybe the people that I knew. Because I knew a couple sellers from when I went to New York and I kind of kept in contact with them, but it wasn't at the level you guys are at. So it kind of gave me a peek into the curtain of what a business looks like, rather than just a side hustle or just throwing it through things in Amazon, which is how I started. And that's where I find the most value is you guys are actually talking about things that impact the business on an ongoing basis.
Those sounds
Yeah.
like working with us has really affected your business too.
Oh
How
yeah.
have you seen your business change over the years?
I mean, the biggest thing is lately it's been all about organization and culture. Before it was about the numbers and tracking everything. Like that has to be a commitment to any business owner. Like you can't just like with Amazon when it first started, you could buy these things and you can make some good money. But if you really wanted to scale something, if you really wanted, like I didn't even want to scale that big. Like right now, I merchant fulfill stuff, but I just scaled that to where I wanted it, right? And
Yeah.
that pays for a certain amount and allows me to do some of the funner things in life. My wife does ministry events. And so we're always I couldn't work a 9 to 5 and do that. But I
Right.
merchant fulfilled, the way I merchant fulfill is available to sustain, a large portion of our expenses. And I'm happy with that. And now I'm looking at, okay, where's the next growth stage in my business? So I kind of make it my own. We all have to make our business our own and what works for us.
Right.
But those types of things really helped me going forward were the actual business concepts, kind of like what you talk about, Kim. Kim, you're really tight on the numbers. You really want to know, like the questions we ask about things have changed. Like I don't ask questions like, oh, well, I just need to get, like if I find a source, okay, is that source a longevity source or is it just a one-off source? Or we have different types of sources, right? You have outlet stores, discount stores, wholesale places. You have places that are one time a year. So these are all different categories I classify my sources as, right? And then, so when I do that, now I know how I'm going to attack each one of those sources. And then business concepts, like you guys have really like shared a lot of business concepts with the EOS. Once I got that framework, when you guys started talking about EOS, I remember it was just a conversation. It was a book. Hey, have you guys read this? And then some people did read it and some people didn't. And I said, wow, they're still doing EOS a year later. Oh, they're still on EOS. I really have to really look at this framework. And that framework gives me a framework for the whole week and the month and the quarter and the year. So now I'm already have consistency built into the business. And now I'm stacking numbers that I can share and I can grow and I can learn from.
Yeah, that was just bringing EOS into our own business was huge for us because it kind of clarified priorities, right? Like you have to sit and think through what's a big 5 to 10 year goal, and then just keep backing it down into smaller, achievable pieces. Okay, well, 10 year goal. What do I need to do in 3 years to be a third of the way there? What
Mm-hmm.
do I need to do this year to be a third of the way there? What do I need to do this quarter to be a quarter of the way there? And then in our weekly meetings, our L10 meetings, what do I need to get done this week to move towards that quarterly goal? And problem solving. Yeah, that was huge for us. It was kind of like for administration what lean was for operations for us, really. Um,
Yeah, and there is like I know there's other ones like the one that comes up to me is the E Myth. That's a framework, right? It teaches you to step outside of your business and look at it. Like,
mhm.
is this thing really operating in a way that's sustainable? And so, just that sort of like I'm trying to pick up anything that would help me to grow or to get to that next step. Like you asked me, have my goals changed? They change every year, right? They change because of the market of Amazon. They change
Right.
because of the industry, right? I read a quote one time. It says, "The market doesn't dictate my outcome, just my strategy." When people are saying it's a bad market, they're already confusing themselves in the market. Like it's already going to be a bad year. It's not a good year. Okay, well, what would make it a good year? Let me list 20 things that I can do right now that could, if this isn't working, what else has opened up? Amazon is a very slippery kind of works one thing now and then another thing doesn't work. And I learned that just by being in some of the groups and networking, watching you guys. But being on your leadership team has helped me to understand the inner workings of just how things move so quickly, and you have to be ready to adjust the business. You
I want to
cannot
back
just
up.
stay the
I
same.
want I want to back up here, Miguel, to what you said about a bad market.
Mhm.
Um, that reminds me that instead of when people are looking at the economy, a lot of um, they talk about a bull market and a bear market instead of
Mhm.
a good market and a bad market because there's opportunity everywhere. They're different challenges, but there's always opportunity. And that's one of the things that we've seen over the years, how cyclical Amazon is. And we go through really challenging periods, and a lot of people will drop out because it's hard, but it leads to better times. It leads to less competition, and it makes it easier. So those hard times aren't necessarily bad times. They just bring new challenges that people have to adapt to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, I'll just say this. One of my biggest, it's not a pet peeve, it's just what we hear a lot is, you know, like right now, if you look at the industry right now, over the last, when I got into Amazon, it's probably been 7 years or something like that. You guys probably over 10 years. Just think of how long a business lasts in general, right? The first couple of years, usually the business doesn't even last. Whatever it is, it
Right.
doesn't have to be Amazon, right? You're talking 10
Yeah.
years in. Of course, most of the people that started when you guys probably started, they're gone. And it's not because they failed, it's because they grew outside of that. Maybe they went to real estate, maybe they went to, another business. They did the Amazon thing, they made money, and they exited. It's a whole new time now. There's a new crop of sellers. They're all
Mhm.
young, they're all hungry, and they all use technology. So you better be ready to go, and you better be ready to compete with the new ones. Now there's some longevity that is in Amazon if you build it with sustainability, and that's what you see the bigger sellers, the Jeffs, and the things that are still here. And a lot of those people came in with skill sets. That's the one thing I learned as well. Just being around and thinking and stepping outside of the business and looking, I'm like, man, Perry came in with a skill set of being able to logistically handle an inventory based business. I didn't have that, right? Or there were other sellers that I really studied, and they were like managing like six Walgreens, or they would manage Home Depot. And so you come in and you think, man, I want to be like them. They come in with so much, you know, so some of their skill sets are already built in. So you got to look at yourself and you got to say, well, what is my skill set? I knew I can run teams. I knew I can deal with difficult conversations. I knew I wasn't a yes man. I wasn't going to just tell you what you wanted to hear. We're gonna talk about what's going on. We're gonna have tough conversations, and so I knew I had some of that, but there were still things I needed to learn. And it just kind of, when people don't innovate in any business, not just Amazon, in any business, you're gonna get passed up. I say this one thing. I've been telling Gloria this, which is my wife. I say it's not the big fish that eat the small fish anymore. It's the fast fish that beat the slow fish. So if you're
That's
not
good.
being fast, and it's not fast is not like right now. We still have to steer the ship and make logical decisions, right, Kim? So I always think of Kim because she's always gonna say, I don't know, what about this and what about, yeah, we make conscious decisions, but we still got to move fast in this market. Like, the opportunity is only going to last for a certain amount of time, and then it's gone. It's why we tell a lot of the shoppers, like, don't get too high on your horse that source is going to stay there, because it could be
Mhm.
gone in one email. And so what are we doing to look in the market and see what the next opportunity is? We keep our bread and butter, but what's the next opportunity in this market?
Right. Yeah, I like that too. And like to think that on the team here, we put a lot of value in differing perspectives. And we want to hear those, especially in our weekly meetings. We want to hear those counterpoints and maybe wrestle a little bit with the different perspectives before we make those decisions. I'm curious, what are some areas that you think, as we think about like CFE and Ecom Toolbox, where you have a different perspective from us? And keeping in mind, like Kim and I have very different perspectives on the business, right?
Yeah.
We're not afraid to disagree.
Well, I mean,
Right.
I think you guys already know, a year or so ago, I was already telling you guys to launch. I was like, we need to launch. We need to use, like,
I
what are
knew you
we
were going to say
like?
that.
Yeah, I'm sitting back like, there's no content out here that's going to help people how to really look at business systems and logistics, like not logistics, but just business concepts. Like people have a quote of a business concept. You guys are actually building out what we call in Ecom Toolbox, which is a scorecard. Other businesses have that. They do that same exact thing so they can understand what's coming down the road, so they can make projections into next quarter that's going to set them up, right? But then nobody does it. Like they'll sit in the class, they won't do the scorecard, and then they'll say, oh, like I'm really struggling with this source or this ROI, or I have too much inventory. If you would have 6 months to a year of looking at, and you would have to sit there and watch your inventory just increase and increase and increase and increase, right? And you start running out of money and you're like, what is going on? It's not selling. But if you don't write that down and you don't build out those numbers and become very methodical about it, then because once you see it, you're like, wait, why is that number different now, right? Or why did it took 3 months, but all of a sudden this just hit the floor in ROI. You stop right then and there, and now you're looking at it and you're making decisions. Whereas the person who doesn't have those numbers just keeps going along, and that's who I was. I would just keep going along and spend money, and then I'm broke.
Yeah. Yeah, you make a really good point. And I've said this in other places, but pulling those numbers, well, first of all, our scorecard and our shopper metrics, KPIs, they came out of a crisis, right? We hit a wall after 2021, the cash was drying up and we needed to figure out why. And so we used that as an excuse to create a system and create a new discipline in the business. But
Right.
pulling those numbers, looking at those measurements, sitting down at a regular time, A, can be really difficult as a small business owner to find that time. But B, it's just good old-fashioned discipline. Like you just have to tame your schedule to the point where you can take time to look into your business, work on your business, and not in your business. If you don't, you're flying blind in a lot of cases.
Yep.
Yeah. And can I add something here? It's really
Yeah.
important for people to build a scorecard that they're actually going to use. Because for years before we built our current scorecard, I was keeping a dashboard of metrics. I was keeping tons of numbers. I had a VA who kept it populated for me, but we didn't really use it. I've gone back and used it to do some deep problem solving, root cause analysis, spring cleaning, but not in a regular weekly way to keep a pulse on the business.
So
And
do
so it
you
serves
think
two
that,
very different purposes.
yeah, do you think that was because we weren't disciplined in looking at our numbers or because we were pulling the wrong numbers?
I think it's both. We weren't disciplined in really going back and using them, looking at them. I think half the time you didn't even know I was keeping them. Every once in a while, I just mention it. Hey, I've got this really complex dashboard. You want to take a look at it?
He's probably like, no, I don't. I'm good.
Right. And also, it was just too complex to give us any kind of information at a glance. It required sitting down and studying it and, creating a new set of graphs from it and trying to understand how all that information interrelated. And the scorecard really boils it down to just a couple of really key numbers that will get you pointed in the right direction. And then you can go dig into a complex dashboard if you've been keeping one, because you've got an idea of where the problem is coming from.
Yeah, well, two things. One, at Ecom Toolbox inside school, skool.com/ecom toolbox, we actually have recorded two sessions on this issue, knowing your numbers and creating a scorecard. But also, that scorecard needs to be condensed down to a single piece of paper if you printed it out as much as possible and give you at a glance the numbers that you need to know if your business is running well. And so it's not a static document. We're constantly evolving it. And that's pure EOS. We didn't come up with that, right? Like we're running on EOS. We're serious about EOS. That's like early EOS doctrine, how to run your business well. You got to figure out what those numbers are. And while we're happy to in our school for Ecom Toolbox, happy to share that, how we do it, like you might find more meaningful numbers. There's a few key numbers that are important to everybody in an arbitrage business or in an Amazon business, like sales, margin,
Mhm.
how much you're spending on inventory, how much inventory you have, those kinds of things. But you're going to have to think through it on your own. But it's
Yeah,
super important.
I
Go
will
ahead.
say that EOS framework really was crucial for me, just because of the framework. I just needed a framework. So
Yeah.
as an Amazon business owner, and I'm talking from back in the days, like I had to deal with like the numbers that Seller Central had, right? I had to deal with inventory, I had to deal with budgets, I had to deal with all these different compartments and departments, right, that we're trying to do and we're trying to run, and it's just all over the place. It's
Okay.
all over the place, and I can't. I can look at this one number here, but then okay, I looked at it. What does that do? But this number affects another number, right? And then
Right.
these two numbers, you see things happening here. They all affect each other. And so with EOS, it and what you guys are teaching in ecom, that's why I'm excited about it, because it gives somebody who maybe doesn't have a background in business. Like I didn't go to school for business, right? But the Ecom Toolbox and all those different departments and those classes you guys are having, that gives me the structure. Yeah, it's based on EOS, but you guys have niched it down into a seller's account. So it's almost like, why wouldn't you take hold of this stuff? You know, I mean, you can get instruction and you can get coaching, but if you don't implement it, if you don't take action on it, then it's just gonna get passed up
Right.
because
I love
somebody
this
else is
because
doing that.
we've spent a lot of money on professional coaching to implement EOS in our business, and it sounds like there's been a big trickle down effect where you're able to benefit from it without paying for the direct coaching. I love
Yeah,
that.
I mean, yeah, I definitely keep my ears open to what's going on, and any business owner should be doing that at any time. We should all be thinking like, where do I lack, right? Because I'm responsible for not just me, my wife, my kids. Like I think there was a call in RA Secrets a long time ago, and one of the persons that you did a video call with, she said, had to start taking things seriously. This is serious business. Like if you just want a side hustle, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. If you just want to make, $1,000 a month, a couple thousand, you're good with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to grow. I wanted to make something sustainable. I don't need to be the best. I need to do what works for me. And I just know that there's other people out here that they're going to push themselves. Like these kids nowadays, they'll go for it. They don't have anything to lose. They're 23 and they can get money. Like I seen it during COVID. All these new sellers came into the account, and flooded the market. They do not care. If they lose it, it's gone. But what is going to separate you from all these other sellers? For me, if you can get consistency in your business with a good structure and pay attention to numbers, pay attention to what really moves the needle, then you have to do those things to set yourself apart, or you're going to be one of them Amazon sellers who did it for a couple of years and you got passed up.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we consider you a critical key member of the team. I'm just curious, what part of our business is most exciting to you to be working on? I think you've kind of hinted at it through this whole conversation, but what part of the CFE Ecom Toolbox business really like gets your attention and sets you on fire?
Well, it's definitely the coaching. The coaching. There's another thing I'll say in just a minute, but the coaching for me over the last year or so, I knew you guys. I don't know. You guys have had this ability. You've been doing it already. You've been doing the coaching already. Um, you really had to. I really wanted to see Kim and Perry really own that and really launch that in a way where they could specifically pursue your personal vision of what you wanted to do. And some things had to happen to make that go forward. But yeah, I'm just excited about what you guys are teaching. I'm excited about how you guys are in the trenches. Like this thing I was telling you, Perry, at the conference a while back, like there's a lot of coaching out there. And the coaching is to get you started. They'll teach you to source, right? You can take a class on sourcing, and that can really get your feet under you. But when that's gone, it's you by yourself looking at those numbers and wondering, am I really being successful in this business or not? Like, how do you, when you get gated on a brand, how do you pivot out of that without crashing and burning? Like, do you have things in place? What if you start running out of money? Or do you have a reserve that's going to sustain you for a certain amount of time if you get knocked off the platform or something. Like all these things, they're all doable. There's ways to make those things work. But if you don't have like I call it like looking behind the curtain, into a real business. And I think that's what you guys are doing with the Ecom Toolbox. Like you guys are actually in the trenches. Like you're actually talking to people that are having these issues, and I was like, if you just give Kim your scorecard that you've been tracking for a little while and paying attention to it, and you're having an issue, she can look at the scorecard and probably tell you right away. Why? Because she sees it over and over and over and's been through it. And who does that? Who's going to actually give you the real secrets of running this business? And I feel like you guys have that locked down. I feel like you have the right heart to do it. You're not afraid to say, "Hey guys, like if you want to survive, you're going to have to do this. You're going to have to make some changes here." Because if we hide those things as sellers, right? We don't want to talk. We want to talk about the big numbers, but we don't want to talk about the struggles we're having with an employee. We don't want to talk about, who was siphoning off, some of the inventory over here and how to keep that from happening. We don't want to talk about that, right? We just want to talk
Right.
about, hey, I'm selling on Amazon. No, like it's a business. Get with the right people that will be honest with you because you're going to get exposed in this market. It's crucial more now than ever to have things dialed in.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And we're really trying to create at Ecom Toolbox, not just coaching, but a community where people comfortable and confident and find their people so they can brainstorm these kind of problems with us weighing in. And it's not just us in there. Like you're in there. You're one of the most active members in the school group, and Kelly's in there, Natasha's in there. She helps us with our HR and our overall business admin. You and
Yeah.
Christy are both in there, and you guys do a great job managing the shopper team, and you're like rock star shoppers in your own right. So we're trying to put the pieces together to give people access. We do a weekly open call every Tuesday where people
Yeah.
can come and just bring their business problems and ask us questions, and we can brainstorm with everybody on the call, those kinds of stuff. That's really cool.
And I love sharing problems because everybody can learn from them. We try to learn from our own problems, but if other people can learn from our mistakes, then they don't have to make the same mistakes. And
Yeah. I mean,
if we can
I,
build a group, a community where there's enough trust for other people to share their mistakes too, then we're all learning from each other and we're all going to do a lot better.
yeah, I have a couple seller friends and I push them. I think some of them are in the group now, a bunch of knuckleheads sometimes I tell them because they're complaining about something. I'm like, you got access to human resources, you got access to a shopper that's been doing this for 10 plus years with Christy. You've got
Mhm.
Kim and Perry that are on the ground floor of launching. So they're honed into this. Everything's about Ecom Toolbox right now. These are the resources. This is the opportunity right now. If you want to be a part of it, man, jump in. If you need to learn something else, maybe you need to learn something different before you get into that. That's fine too. But this is the opportunity, I believe, and I'm excited for it, and I'm excited to see you guys really thrive in it.
Yeah, thanks. Don't sell yourself
Thank you.
short. Like as we've explored this last 45 minutes to an hour, like you've been in the trenches. Like you've battled your way back. We talked to Nick. We'll be publishing his episode soon. We've all had those moments where we didn't know if we were going to survive, right?
Yeah,
Like we did something so boneheaded with our cash or our inventory, we had to take big write-downs. We had to take narrower margins and ROI just to keep the cash moving. And you've done that for 8 years and come out, I won't say unscathed, but a lot wiser and battle hardened for it. And you're right there alongside of us in there helping people and, you know, rallying the troops and answering questions. We really appreciate that.
yeah, and I appreciate it. You guys have been always pushing people to I was surprised, you were like, you can keep buying on Amazon. Like, who does that? Like, you guys are like, go ahead, keep growing your business. When I first started with you guys, it's a unique situation. Strategic partners, like we talked about, I would say.
Right? Yeah.
But it's been a great ride, and yeah, I mean, I remember telling Jerome when I visited you guys one time, which is your what is he? Jerome was your
He
ex
was,
boss.
yeah, he was my lean mentor for about 5 years.
Yeah,
5 years. Yeah.
I had a great conversation and learned all kinds of things about you that you don't know I know. But he told me, he said, so you got with Kim and Perry and you launched your own business too. I said, yeah. He goes, oh, you must be flying high. I said, no, I hit every rock on the way down, went back up, jumped again, and still scaped my leg on the way down. But I'm still here and we're still pushing to grow and learn and just be better than we were last year. That's what I'm thinking about. How can I be better than I was last year? Last year's done, it's gone. We did what we can do that year. Where's the
Yeah.
opportunity today?
Yeah. And what lessons did we learn so we can avoid the mistakes and build off our strengths, right?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah. As we wrap things up, though, I'm curious, do you got any fun stories or memorable moments over the years that really stand out to you?
Um, I mean, I remember coming to the first Christmas party and I think you guys had a mannequin that was kind of weird, and I was like, who am I hanging out with? Like they're bringing objects to their parties and stuff.
Why are you talking mean about Chad?
Yeah,
He's one of our oldest employees.
yeah. Chad, that's funny. There's many small moments I've had with the team just in general, Kelly and Christy, and these different conversations where we're just cracking up and having a good time. When anybody's I'm passionate about Amazon. I'm passionate about the business. I haven't lost my desire to grow and to see where this could lead. So each and every member of your team is kind of like that. Like they love to talk about the business. Like if Gloria, my wife, has to tell me, hey, like we need to cut this off because you're talking too much and I want to do something else, and so you have to learn to check out sometimes and have some clarity breaks in life. um, but it's just been a fun ride. You guys really push each and every person, not just your employees, but just people in general that are in the community. And I feel like it's just a great opportunity right now to get in and learn something new if you are in the Amazon space. Learn it in the Ecom Toolbox.
Can we
Yeah.
ask about
Thanks.
your longer term goals for yourself, your business? Where do you see it going in the
Um,
next many years?
yeah, I mean, my kids are one's already graduated from college, the other one's got another year or two. Me and my wife are empty nesters. We have a dog, and I just look forward to next. I'm looking at 3 to 5 years for the business. I want to see where it goes from there. But yeah, I don't think about retirement at all. I think the selling space in general, not just Amazon, I think there's so much opportunity with the technology that's happening right now. I'm trying to get myself embedded into those types of things because it's not just one platform anymore. There's so many ways you could sell and move things into different markets and regions, like the TikTok, the online video selling. Like you don't even have to use Amazon anymore. You sell your own stuff. And if I'm getting stuff at 80% off retail, I don't even have to use Amazon sometimes anymore. So I'm excited about the future and the technology that's in the space, but you got to have your systems locked in. That's where I think people can really build something, is because the technology is going to keep showing up. It's going to keep showing up. People are building listings like on the fly. Like I'm trying to build my merchant fulfilled listings before I get home. Like I already email it or upload it and build some kind of agent to make the listings. So like it's how we can. I'm saying all my secrets. I have to compete against Kim and Perry, right? I have to compete against you guys. My listings are made before I even get to the thing. I'm selling
That's
off of
awesome.
product that people are buying
Yeah.
before, on these big regional sales. It's either first to market or last, right? Well, I want to
Mhm.
sell now. I
Right.
don't want to sell, 6 months or a year down the road. So, um, there's just unique things that are happening right now with technology. So I don't see myself getting out of the space anytime soon. It's all about just where's the biggest profits at, who can we connect with. I'd love to be uh, growing the business in another regional community, and exposing different markets to the opportunities that we can get there. I think that's one thing we've kind of talked about. I'm all for that too. Like, guys, let's get another market added. Like, well, we have all the things in place to do that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be around for a while. I love the space. I love the community in general. I love talking to sellers all the time. it's what I do now. So yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. Well, we're about an hour in. I really appreciate you taking the time today. And for the audience, just as a reminder, you can join this awesome community that we're building by going to the school platform. That's skool.com/ecom toolbox. Jumping in for the first 90 days or so, we're running a bit of an introductory rate. And after that, we're going to raise the price. So don't hesitate. But Miguel, it's always awesome hanging out with you. I wish you weren't 3 hours away. We'd probably hang out 2 or 3 times a week, man. Thanks for jumping on.
Yeah, great. It's great to talk to you guys anytime. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody in the school community.
Yeah,
Fun
absolutely.
conversation.
All right,
Good
guys.
to see
Talk
you.
to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.